Guys, am I audible now? Sorry, I didn't read your chat. Guys, am I audible? Rohit? Good morning, Rohit. Good morning, Aranya. Guys, am I audible now? Yes, I apologize for this. Uh, there was some technical difficulty because of the stream and everything. So the voice was not there. Again, guys, let me start from the very beginning again. So this session is going to be a marathon session based on your descriptive English part. And in this session, uh, we will be discussing important components of descriptive English. Now guys, I know it is already I mean, you have your exam day after tomorrow, and it is, I think I mean we can't do too much of changes in our strategy at this moment. But what I am planning today is to give you, let me share the agenda of this with you first. So the agenda is, first I'll give you a brief overview of the session. We will discuss the syllabus of descriptive English and other components as well. Then I'll first provide you some, important tentative topics for this year, which are going to be really, really crucial for this exam. Now we'll have essay writing, we'll discuss Prezi writing, and we'll discuss the basics of reading comprehension as well. And then I'll provide you some relevant sources you can use for your preparation in the exam. Right. So let's begin with this, guys, and let's further understand what this descriptive English paper entails. So let me give you a brief introduction about phase 2 exam. So on 6th of December, you'll have you'll basically spend about 5.5 to 6 hours, for your phase 2 exam. So you'll have phase 2 exam is worth 300 marks, guys. Now, what is the breakup of these 300 marks? Paper 1 is going to be based on economic and social issues. First 50% of the questions will be objective type, and the next 50 questions, 50% weightage would be for your descriptive part for your economic and social issues. So 30 minutes for your objective type questions, 50 questions, and then you'll have 4 questions, descriptive questions, for your 90 minutes. So total is 120 minutes, and the total weightage is 100 marks. Then second paper is going to be on descriptive English, which is the time frame for which is 90 minutes, and you're supposed to answer 3 questions in 90 minutes, namely essay writing, Prezi writing, and reading comprehension based questions. The weightage for English is again 100 marks, and your third paper is going to be on finance and management. Again, similarly, exactly like economic and social issues, you have 50% weightage for your objective type, which is for 30 minutes, and then you'll have a descriptive paper for finance and management, 4 questions in 90 minutes. So the total time is again 120 minutes. So you'll have 4 hours plus 1.5, 5.5 hours just to sit in the exam, and maybe half an hour break in between after maybe paper 2. So you'll have to spend 6 hours. So that should be considered, and you need to be very, very calm, very, very patient when you are when you are articulating your answers, and you need to control your nerves during the exam. And I hope you and I wish that you don't wear out. I mean, you don't get tired of typing and writing. I hope you've done all that with the help of the full length tests that we have provided you in our course. Right. Now, what is the weightage of English language, guys? Now, English language, the weightage is 100 marks. And what is the breakup of these 100 marks? First, you'll have your essay worth 40 marks, which is, you'll be given 4 topics, and you'll have to choose one out of those four topics, and you'll have to frame a 600-word essay out there. Second question would be Prezi writing, which is worth 30 marks. You'll be given a passage, and you'll have to read and make a Prezi out of it in 170 to 180 words, which is worth 30 marks. And third is your comprehension, which is again worth 30 marks. You'll be given a passage, and the questions based on the passage need to be answered in the exam itself. So you'll have probably 5 questions worth 30 marks. So 40 plus 30 plus 30 makes it 100 marks altogether. Right. This is the brief breakup of descriptive English part. Now, guys, what is the syllabus that you need to focus upon? What is the the important criteria that you need to focus? So guys, they've clearly mentioned in your official notification that paper 2, where you will be asked to articulate your answers based on with the help of keyboard. So you'll be typing your answers. So in descriptive English, you'll have 90 minutes, 3 questions worth 100 marks. Now, what they've clearly mentioned is, guys, the paper on English shall be framed in a manner to assess the writing skills, including expression and understanding of the topic. So guys, the paper on English shall be framed in a manner to assess the writing skills, including expression and understanding of the topic. So this is what needs to be looked after. This is what needs to be taken care of. So see guys, what I can tell you is they are not looking for Shakespeare's out there. Please understand this. Even if you write normal decent English, right? English which we use in our day-to-day lives, that is absolutely acceptable. But your answers need to be error-free, number one. They need to meet the word limit, another very important component. And third is, when you're presenting your answers, they should be coherent to the question. They should fulfill the demand of the question. If you talk about essays, it should be full of facts and data, statistics, reports, schemes, as much factual information as you can provide. That will be the backbone of your essay. Similarly for Precis, following the structure, following the word limit, and contracting the passage organically in your own words within the word limit will fetch you the maximum marks possible. And in reading comprehension is about your elaboration skills. If you can locate the answers from the passage, and then can you elaborate the answers in your own words, in your own presentation. So these are the key requirements of of this exam. Now, before we go any further, guys, I think this is what you probably might be looking for. Tentative topics for this year. So what topics should we prepare for? What are the important or what are the crucial topics that we need to look into before we walk into the exam room? Now guys, although you might have prepared for numerous topics, but let me also give you some additional topics so that you can at least look into them and at least prepare some background information. Because if one of these topics is asked in the exam, you still should be able to articulate your answers. So first, I'll provide you some topics based on current affairs. So first is role of public capital expenditure and investment rate from 31% to 35% of the GDP in driving India's growth ambition. Do you think this is a good decision? This is a good step. So increasing public capital expenditure and investment rate, is it a good step? Is it a good measure taken by the government or not? Second, digital payments, fintech innovations and financial inclusion. Again, three very important component of the growth of the economy. So digital payments, fintech innovations and financial inclusion in India, status, prospects and regulatory aspects. Again, crucial, very important topic. The rise of non-banking financial companies, NBFCs in India's financial ecosystem. What are the benefits of NBFCs, risks and regulatory responses for them? Then balancing inflation, targeting and growth by RBI. How RBI is targeting balance between inflation and growth. How should the central bank maneuver in 25-26? Now guys, we know that our economy has touched 8.2% growth rate in the second quarter of this year. But if you look at the status of rupee, now rupee has crossed the 90 for $1 it has crossed the 90 rupee mark. Right. So, I mean, it has really fallen very rapidly in the recent past. So, how inflation and growth can be balanced by RBI or should be balanced by the authorities? Important topic. Now, internationalization of rupee, bilateral trade. Can India reduce dependence on US dollar in global trade and finance? Bilateral trade, mutual trade, BRICS and whatnot. Then green finance, again, very important topic. Green finance and sustainable investing in India. What are the opportunities and regulatory challenges? Again, startups, unicorns and India's goal of a $5 trillion economy, the financing landscape and the systemic risks. Again, very broad and very crucial topic. Then credit growth versus asset quality in Indian banking system. Now, lessons to be learned from recent years and the way forward. So it can be asked what credit growth means and what asset quality entails. Now, reforming goods and services tax. This was done recently, structure in India, right? So the GST structure in India was recently reformed. It was restructured by the finance ministry. So what are the implications on growth, industry and consumers? Again, very important topic based on current affairs, guys. So you must look into such topics and make sure that you do prepare some background facts and data, statistics, reports on these topics. Important, crucial topics for this year. The next, union budget. I don't think this is, it's not a recent topic, so we can skip it. Now, geopolitical risks, global supply chain disruptions and their impact on India's finance and trade. could be asked, but usually geopolitical topics are not asked, but still you should look into it. Yes, again, important topic is the role of cooperative banks and regional rural banks in strengthening rural credit flow in India. Very important topic. This was, I think, asked last year. Now, fintech regulation in India, balancing innovation, inclusion, and consumer protection. Fintech, again, very important vertical to look into. Financial literacy and consumer protection in digital banking. Again, a very critical issue that needs to be looked into. What are the challenges in India's context regarding financial literacy and consumer protection in digital banking? Now, FDI, old but still evergreen topic. FDI, foreign portfolio investment. So FDI and FPI in India. What are the drivers? What are the risks and the regulatory framework for that? E-governance. Again, e-governance is again important vertical to look into. Non-performing assets, banking recapitalization and financial stability in India. About the banking sector of the country. The impact of RBI's regulatory sandbox and central bank digital currency CBDC's initiatives on the Indian financial sector. Again, very important topic about e-rupee, CBDC. You must look into them. And again, guys, I have a feeling this time, I don't know if they can ask something related to fiscal federalism and state level debt, managing subnational borrowings and debt sustainability in India. So this is about fiscal federation, how states differ in their strategies if compared with or when compared with the central authorities, and how they can come together and function in in harmony. So again, important topic, must look into it. Now, topics based on economic and financial issues, guys. Impact of inflation on the common man. So this is important. Inflation is obviously, I mean, the inflation rate is quite low in India right now, right? But how it impacts the common man. Next, is India ready for a cashless economy? Now, growing importance of financial literacy in India. We've talked about it. Cryptocurrency in India, or digital currency. Role of startups in India's economic growth. Privatization of public sector. Privatization of public sector banks, pros and cons. Then role of NBFCs, we have discussed it earlier as well in financial inclusion. Then this is very important, guys. Environmental, social and governance, investing in India, the future of responsible finance. So you must look into ESG, environmental, social and governance, investing in India. Why is it important? And next, India's journey towards becoming a $5 trillion economy. Again, a crucial topic to look into. Now, topics based on social and developmental issues. Climate change and its impact on migration in India. It's not just about migration, it's about climate change and its impact on almost every sector, be it farming sector, be it industries, be it migration. So you must definitely, research into climate change and its impacts on growing economies or developing economies like India. Next, bridging the urban rural divide. Again, a very old but evergreen topic. Role of government in rural development, right? Women empowerment. This is again very important topic, women empowerment. This is, off and on, this is usually asked in the exam. Okay. Education reforms and the national education policy. Again, a very important topic for this exam. Educational reforms and NEP 2020. Unemployment in India, causes and solutions. Unemployment, again, the rate is drastic and we need to look into this. Health infrastructure in India, lessons learned from the pandemic. May be asked, may not be asked. Now, is the reservation a sustainable solution to social inequality? Again, guys, important topic to look into. Reservation. Now, digital divide and inclusive development. Must prepare for such topics. These are very, very frequently asked topics in the exam. And water crisis in India. What are the causes and what could be the tentative solutions for such problems in India? Alright, guys, let's go further. Topics based on technology and innovation. Artificial intelligence and the future of employment. Must look into it, guys. Role of AI on job displacement, or role of AI basically based on the impact of AI on the future of the economy, right? What could happen? Then cybersecurity threats and data privacy in India. Again, a very important topic to look into. 5G technology, a boon or bane for India? Obviously, it's a boon, but how can it be a bane as well? Role of fintech in financial inclusion. Again, we are repeating the same topic. Again, very important. And digital banking in India, the growth and regulation for the same. So these are some crucial topics based on technology and innovation. So guys, these were some 45 odd topics based on current affairs, finance, management, economic and social issues, as well as technology. So guys, if you prepare for these topics, I'm sure you can, you can definitely prepare better for your exam, which is day after tomorrow. Now, let me start by showing you what are the PYQs that were given to the that were thrown at the aspirants in the year 2024. Now, guys, first let's look into the essay topics which were given last year. So the word limit that was mentioned in the exam was 600 to 620 words, and the topic that were given, number one, discuss what would be the social, economic, and environmental impacts of hosting Olympics for India. Now, guys, recently we have captured the role for hosting Commonwealth Games in India in 2030, right, which are going to be conducted in Ahmedabad. So they might ask you that what role could such events like Commonwealth Games and Olympics play in the growth of the economy, or how it can impact the country in good and in bad ways as well. So you must look into this topic. Again, important, crucial topic for this year as well. Second, how climate change impacts the global migration. See, I told you climate change and its impact on global migration. Important topics to discuss. So discuss impacts on countries from which people emigrate and on countries to which they emigrate to. So this was basically based on current affairs and economic and social issues. Third, importance of mental health of employees in an organization. What steps can organizations take to ensure well-being of employees? So what is mental health and how it impacts an organization? Again, this was a topic based on social issue as well as a little inclined towards management as well. And fourth topic was very static, which was a which was a statement by Henry Ford. So he says, anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80, and anyone who keeps learning stays young. So the greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. So this is a quotation by Henry Ford, and you were asked to elaborate on this. So this was a static topic altogether. So you can say, there is a mix of topics. One topic is based on current affairs, one topic is based on economic and social issues, one topic is based on management, as well as some social issues related to it, and then fourth, you get a static topic. So you need to understand, you need to choose one out of these four topics and make sure that the topic should be well prepared for. You need to know the background of the topic, right? So that you are able to elaborate it in 600 words. So this was the first question in the year 2024. Now guys, we have provided you detailed solutions for all these questions in the PDF itself. But before we go further, let me show you. These were the tentative topics I provided to the students last year. Global migration trends, challenges and opportunities for nationwide. So this was one topic that I gave as tentative topic last year, and this was asked in the exam. Then another topic, mental health awareness and support systems, breaking the stigma, related to another topic that was given in the exam. And then impact of artificial intelligence in society and industry. Now again, important topic. So guys, you should look into such tentative topics so that you can understand what could be asked this year. And if you prepare for majority of the topics, you will be it's like to be jack of all trades, but to be master of none. So important topics you might have practiced already, but certain topics that you should look into. So I've marked these topics for you here, guys. Please look into these 20 topics which are based on current affairs. Very, very important. Public capital expenditure and investment rate. Is it a good step? Digital payment, fintech innovation and financial inclusion. NBFCs. Then green finance and sustainable investing. Globalization of Indian rupee, startup ecosystem and unicorns, credit growth versus asset quality, then reformation of GST, very important topics. Then about cooperative banks and their role of regional rural banks. Then fintech regulation in India, financial literacy and consumer protection, foreign direct investments and foreign portfolio investments, non-performing assets, banking recapitalization, CBDCs, again very important topics. So guys, I've marked these some odd 10-12 topics which I feel are crucial for this year. And another is this one, environmental, social and governance, ESG. Again, very important topic to look into. So make sure guys you prepare for these topics for this year as well. Now guys, we have provided you sample solutions for all these topics. If you want to look into that what kind of essay should be written for these topics, you can look into these answers. The PDF will be provided in our Telegram channel. The link for our Telegram channel has been given in the description of this video, guys. All right. So for every answer, for every topic, like for first was what could be the impact of hosting Olympics, then second, how climate change impacts global migration. We have provided you sample solution for this as well. So you can look into the answers and see what could be written in this regard. Right. And third, importance of mental health of employees in an organization, and what steps can organizations take to ensure well-being of employees. So what can be written in this, how you can present such a topic, based on what you have learned in your management and what you have prepared for. And fourth topic was anyone who stops learning is old. This was a static topic, quotation by Henry Ford. So what can you write in on such a topic? So do read into it, guys. This will basically prepare you, mentally prepare you for what you are going to face in the exam, right? So guys, this is going to be very helpful. Second is, guys, Prezi writing. So this was a passage, this was the passage given to the students, and the word limit for Prezi was mentioned 180 to 200 words, which was worth 30 marks. So the topic basically was, can AI replace CEO in organization in the near future? Can organizations be run not by humans but by artificial intelligence? So this was the passage, artificial intelligence replacing a CEO in an organization. So what you were supposed to do, you were supposed to read this passage and then you were supposed to create a Prezi out of it. So guys, this was a 600 word passage and you were supposed to make a 180 word Prezi out of it. So this is a sample solution for the Prezi. Now, what you have to do is in a Prezi, guys, you have to first give a title on the top, the rise of AI CEOs, balancing efficiency with ethical leadership. And then you have to give a brief overview of the passage in your own words. So something like the concept of AI serving as a CEO is becoming increasingly plausible, offering numerous benefits like data-driven decision making, 24/7 efficiency, and the ability to scale operations globally. So you start with the main point of the passage and then you wrap it up by giving a proper conclusion. Ultimately, while AI CEOs are a possibility, organizations must ensure ethical and transparent frameworks to balance technology's benefits with human values. So, and in between, you had to provide the central theme, the key points of the passage in your own words by connecting them organically. So this is what the structure of a Prezi is: title on the top and then everything within the word limit in one paragraph itself. Okay. All right, guys. So this was the Prezi. Then you were given a reading comprehension passage. So this passage was basically based on customer relationship management as a system in a company. Now, guys, you will not be provided this topic. Now, I have given you the topic to give you a brief overview, but in the exam, you will not be provided the topics here. You will be just given the passages, and you are supposed to read the passages and then frame your answers. So this was basically based on CRM, customer relationship management as a system in a company, how important it is and what role it plays in an organization. So this was the passage, and then there were 5 questions based on that. Question 1 was, what is the primary function of a CRM system in an organization and how does it benefit businesses? Second, how does CRM facilitate cross departmental collaboration within an organization? Third was, what are some key differences between cloud-based and on-premises CRM systems, and when might a business choose one over the other? Fourth is, what challenges might an organization face when implementing a CRM system? And fifth was, how do advanced CRM systems leverage artificial intelligence to enhance business operations? So while solving reading comprehension passage, read the questions first, understand what you have to look for, and then read the passage and keep locating your answers as you go. That is the perspective of reading comprehension. And as you have located the answers, then reframe them in your own words by using the information given in the passage only to create your answers in your own words, but using the information that is given in the passage only, not something beyond the premises of the passage. All right. So this was the paper for 2024. Now let me also give you a brief introduction of descriptive English paper. Now guys, generally it has been observed that descriptive English is the most neglected paper while preparing for RBI Grade B Phase 2 exam. Why? Because people feel descriptive English is just easy, we can do it right there in the exam, there's nothing to practice, we should focus more on finance, management and economic and social issues. Those are the scoring sections, but that is not true. Now guys, everybody is preparing for ASI and finance and management, right? And you won't be able to take a lead in those subjects, but in English it is really easy to score well if you are well prepared, and you can take that lead which will finalize your score or finalize your seat in the interview stage of the exam. So guys, so this section comprises of 3 questions: essay, Precis, and reading comprehension. Now, this section has equal weightage as that of the other 2 sections in the phase 2 exam. Now, you need to understand that the better you perform in this section, the better your written score will be, which in turn will increase your overall score when interview score will be added for your final selection. So make sure that you pay enough attention to descriptive English part, guys, right? Now, what should be a strategy to prepare for descriptive English, and what are the key areas that you need to focus upon? Now guys, first of all, the most important part is your grammatical accuracy. Now guys, the first thing that they are going to check your answers for is your grammatical accuracy. So make sure that you proofread your answers as you go, because any grammatical mistake will cost you marks, and every grammatical, for that matter, every mistake will cost you marks, be it a grammatical mistake, be it a punctuation error, be it a spelling mistake, or be it any sort of error. You miss one word in between and marks will be deducted for it. So you have to make sure that whenever you are writing your answer, you proofread while you are writing it, so that you do not make those common mistakes in your exams. Next, second is error-free articulation. Again, no sort of mistake will be entertained. Every mistake will cost you marks. Remember that. Third is, guys, use of good vocabulary and backup thesis. Now, when you are writing your answers, make sure that you use decent vocabulary. I mean, decent words that we use in our day-to-day lives, and we use good backup thesis. What is backup thesis? You use data, statistics, reports, schemes, factual information to back up what you are trying to convey in your answers. If you are writing your answer in RC, use information given in the passage. If you are writing an essay, use what you have prepared for in your finance, management, current affairs, economic and social issues. Use those factual points, those data points to back up your thesis. That will not only improve your answer, it will save your time, and it will reduce any potential mistake that you can make. So it's a really important component. And guys, what are the key focus areas? Logical drafting skills. You need to know the structure of an essay. You need to know the structure of a Precis, and then how to frame your answers in reading comprehension. Now guys, these answers are different from what you write in your FMN ESI descriptive paper. You can't write your essays in bullet points or titles and subtitles and subsections and so on and so forth. You can't do that in an essay. You can't make more than one paragraph in a Precis. So you need to know the structure, and that is what we are going to discuss in this session today. So what is the evaluation criteria? Let's also understand that. Your answers will be first evaluated based on your articulation. If you are able to complete all the answers following the word limit in time or not. Even if you miss one answer, I feel you are already out of the race. You can't do that. Now, your drafting skills, are all your answers properly structured? Are they in a proper format or not? That will be properly evaluated. Then your use of language and vocabulary, right? That is again very important. Good vocabulary, good presentation skills. Structure of your answers is it's really crucial, because see, I told you these are not just question and answers. These are specific topics that you need to write on. Then your grammatical conciseness. Obviously, any mistake will prove, I think, unproductive for you. So you make sure that whatever you are writing, make sure that it is grammatically apt and no typos and errors are to be entertained. Make sure that you understand punctuation. Guys, if you don't know where to use commas, where to use apostrophes, where to use semicolons, colons, please make sure you do that before the exam. Right? That will be really helpful, not just for English, but for your other answers as well. So make sure that you understand the punctuations that are used in the exam. All right, and any spelling error that you might look into, or any typo that you frequently make, must be ensured that you do not repeat it in your exam. Now, what are the salient features of your essay writing? Let's delve into different topics, guys. Let's delve deeper into different verticals of this exam. What are the needs and how do you frame an essay? So what are the salient features of an essay, guys? Excellent presentation. Your narrative should be compelling. Use important facts which are which are prepared by you. Use statistics, data points to back up your thesis. Make sure that you mention schemes launched by the government in this regard to make your essay holistic, and then valid or any relevant example that you might know. For example, if you're talking about NPAs, you can write about Yes Bank, or you can write about any organization which has defaulted on the loans. So make sure that you know relevant examples to use in your answers. These are the salient features of an essay. Now, let me also give you topics for previous year. Okay. For example, for the year 2024, we have discussed these topics: social, economic, and environmental impact of hosting Olympics for India, climate change impacts on global migration. Third was importance of mental health of employees, and fourth was a static topic, a quotation given by people should keep on learning, otherwise they get old. So these were the topics for the year 2024. Let's look at the topics for 2023. Now, the topic for 2023 were climate change and its economic impacts on developing countries, which was based on economic and social issues. So climate change is another, very important vertical. Next was India's own digital currency, e-rupee. Third was innovative motivation methods for modern employees aligned with organizational growth. So this was a management topic. How can organizations motivate modern employees, and those motivation methods which are aligned with the growth of the organization as well. And multilinguistic social media account for businesses, what is the need for it? So this was a current affairs based topic. So these were the topics given in the year 2023. Let's look at the topics for 2022. Now, advantages and disadvantages of renewable sources of energy, and discuss how Green Grid initiative under OSOWOG, One Sun, One World, the initiative which will, how this initiative will solve these disadvantages. This was based on current affairs and economic and social issues. Second was role of women in entrepreneurship and economic growth in India, specifically based on ESI. Third, peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. This was a quotation by Albert Einstein. So again, a static topic. And fourth was India has become a medical destination of the world. Again, which was a very offbeat topic, not related to economy, not related to finance, not related to management, not related to social issues. This was a typical current affairs based issue. So guys, you must understand what kind of questions are asked in the exam and what are the sections that you need to look into based on your analysis of the previous 4 years, right? And look at the topics for the year 2021. Now, in 2021, the word limit was short, 400 words, but the topics pros and cons of teaching coding or computer languages to school students. Remember 2021, this was COVID-19 era. This was COVID-19 period. Nothing was going on around in the country. People were in lockdown. So the topics given were pros and cons of teaching coding on computer languages to school students. Second, importance of creative thinking in business. Third was an ounce of prevention is a pound worth of cure, static topic, which basically says prevention is better than cure. And fourth was future of BPO industries, business process outsourcing industries in India. So these were the topics given in the year 2021. So guys, by analyzing these 4 previous year topics, you can make an educated guess, okay, what can be asked this year? There are topics based on ESI, there are topics based on current affairs, there are topics based on management, and there are topics based on static topics as well, right? So you can make a wise strategy based on the understanding of these topics and make an educated guess and prepare accordingly for this year. Now guys, how should you frame an essay? Now, students do find it difficult sometimes to create an essay out there. So I'm giving you, a very basic structure which you can follow in your exam so that you do not fall short of paragraphs, and you can follow this simple pattern to create an organic and a holistic essay out there. So the structure is ICEP CSC. So ICEP CSC. So what ICEP CSC stands for? The first paragraph of your essay should be the introductory part. Now, should be the introduction of your essay, and what should be written in the introduction? You give some startling background information. Don't just start explaining the topic, defining the topic. Start with some startling background information. Give some, give some crucial background data, and then start with your essay. For example, if I'm writing about, let's say if I'm writing about UPI, so I'll not start UPI stands for Unified Payment Interface and so and so. I would probably start with after its inception in the initial years, UPI was not very was not very well accepted, but with the push, with the governmental push and the ecosystem created by the central authorities, as of today, we clock about 29 lakh transactions on a monthly basis, which is higher than almost anywhere in the world. So I'll start with some startling background information and then I'll put forward my point. I hope you're getting the context, guys, how you start your essay. So start your essay with some startling background information on the topic and then come to the topic what you're going to discuss. Then S stands for social angle. Now how this particular how this particular issue impacts the society of the country, common man of the country, how it impacts the country in itself in different terms. Then second is the economic angle, the economic tangent of this particular topic. Now in economic angle, you will discuss how it impacts the economy, economic growth, or disparity, or how it impacts the the economic angle of the society. Then P stands for the political angle. Right, what I mean by political angle is, guys, now in political angle, you have to mention what are the steps and measures taken by the government in this regard, in the on this particular issue. Are there any schemes launched by the government? Is there any particular mission launched by the government in this regard? Then C stands for challenges. Any challenges that you know that must be looked into. So then you talk about the different challenges, and S stands for viable solutions to those challenges. So you should not be only problem oriented. Your answer should not be just problem oriented, it should be solution oriented as well. So when you mention challenges, you also mention solutions to those challenges. And then last, C stands for your conclusion. Now in conclusion, you sum up the whole essay in one sentence. Whatever you've written in the whole essay, you should sum that up in your conclusion. That in conclusion, it can be understood that UPI has played a crucial role in transforming the Indian economic setup, and it has created an ecosystem where people can depend less on cash and more on the digital payment system. So this was the conclusion, and then you give a way forward. So in conclusion, you always give a way forward, guys. Now, what is way forward? You always tell what can be done in the future with such novel solutions entering the Indian economic system. It is going to prove revolutionary for the future of the Indian economy. And if necessary steps are taken and precautions are put in place, I think precautions are put in place, this is going to create India as a powerhouse of digital banking system, something like that. And it can also be used to maybe to grow this system on a global stage, where we can share the system with other countries, where we're also providing every necessary support. So you can give examples like it is used, UPI is being used in France these days, and almost 29 countries have shown interest in using UPI as their primary economic system for digital payment. So you have so much to write if you know about the topic. So you need to structure your answers. And what should be a proper structure to your answers? This ICEP CCS structure. What is ICEP CCS? I stands for introduction, first paragraph. Then social angle, you talk about broadly what this entails. Then economic angle must be written into it because you're writing an essay for RBI. Then political angle, that shows that you are also updated with what is going on around you. Then challenges, they also need to understand, if you understand the the intricates, the nitty-gritties of the topic. Then the social angle, the solutions of these challenges, and then in the end you give a conclusion by wrapping up the essay and by providing a way forward, right? So ICEP CCS, can you follow this, guys? I'll write it again for you. S stands for social, E stands for economic, P stands for political, then C stands for challenges, S stands for solutions, and then C stands for conclusion. So by following this simple structure, you can make at least 7-8 paragraphs for your essay, and 7-8 paragraphs is a good word limit, and you can reach 600 words with ease. So guys, whenever you're writing your essay, make sure that you make a rough draft and you structure all your points in this structure, in this format, ICEP CSC format. So make sure you make a rough draft and you structure your points in this format. And then once you've made a rough draft, then you execute your essay without thinking about the topic. Then only you'll be able to complete it within the stipulated time, and you won't be hassled with thinking what else can be written in this. So guys, why am I saying to make a rough draft before you write your essay? Because unless you have a sound foundation, unless you have a roadmap, you'll not be able to execute it, you'll not be able to reach the end. You'll mix up everything, and your essay is going to your essay at the end is going to look like a jumbled one if you do not follow, if you do not make a rough draft before the exam. So make sure you make a rough draft, and then you execute that rough draft in your essay. Now make sure guys you retain certain important points. For example, as per NSO, India's average literacy rate is 77.7%, while Andhra's is 66.4. Bihar is significantly lower than Bihar, which is 70.9, and Kerala has the highest, which with 96.2. So if you're writing about new education policy or anything about education, this key point is going to be crucial. You can mention it on any topic based on education. For example, if we talk about global healthcare access and quality index, now we have gone up from 153 to 145 in 2016. Now we can write where we stand today. We are at 134 today, right? Then let's say if we are talking about agriculture, more than 50% of the Indian population is employed in agriculture sector, but the contribution of agriculture sector is only 17 to 18%. So the primary source of agriculture for 58% of the population in India is still agriculture, but the contribution of agriculture sector to the GDP is quite low. So this can be used in any topic based on agriculture, rural development, rural issues, anything related to farmers, or something anything related to rural economy, right? So make sure that you retain such facts and data for your exam. Next guys, for example, since the start of 21st century, the annual average GDP has been 6% to 7%, right? Now India is the world's fastest major growing economy, and we have surpassed China in this. And you can mention in the second quarter we have clocked 8.2% growth rate. Now India has 18% of the world's population, which has access to only 4% of the usable water sources. Now again, if you are writing about anything about water scarcity, about water problems or water challenges, you can mention such key points. Now there was 687.6 million internet users in India in January 2020, and it has increased by 128 million, 23% between between the COVID-19 period, and as of now it has gone up to I think around 180 million users. So we are seeing that internet is spreading across the country. It is going to the far-flung areas of the country, and we can use it for the growth of the economy and the country in total. So guys, remember such points. Collect such data points, so that on different verticals, what are the different verticals? For example, for economic and social issues, education, healthcare, child literacy rate, education policy, right? Then social equality, economic parity. These are important topics for economic and social issues, economic, social, and governance, ESG, right? Then if we talk about current affairs, talk about e-rupee, talk about climate change, impact of technology, bilateral trade, Indian rupee as a global currency. So do prepare data points for such topics, for finance and management, fintech sector, right? Then sustainable growth, sustainable development growth, SDGs, right? So do make sure that you read up and you collect data points for such topics. Now guys, 5 mistakes not to make while writing an essay. You need to understand. First, any grammatical mistake, typos, spelling errors, or punctuation errors need to be eliminated there. Second, make sure that you do not use any titles, bullet points, or numbering in an essay. Guys, in essays are only written in paragraphs, remember. So essay, make sure that you write your essay only in paragraphs. You do not give it titles or subtitles. Okay, do not title that, okay, these are the challenges, then these are the solutions. Don't do that. This is not question and answer. Essay is only written in prose, that means paragraphs. So do not use titles, subtitles, bullet points, or subheadings or numberings in your essay. Do not give factual points in your essay. Make sure you write in paragraphs. Meet the word limit. Because if you write below the word limit, I mean going up to 580, 570 is okay, but below that, they'll consider that you do not have enough content to present in your answer. So make sure that you touch 600 words in your essay. Make sure that you are in a habit of doing it every time that you write an essay, guys. All right. Then make sure any monotonous or repetitive idea or repetitive points are to be avoided in your answers. If you think that they are not going to they're not going to get it, your answers are going to be evaluated through software and it is going to pick it up. So make sure you do not repeat an idea to just add to the word limit or to the word length. Make sure that you use new points and you structure your answer properly. And guys, quotations and proverbs are not used in these essays. So I have seen students starting with some anecdote or some proverb or some quotation from an eminent personality. Now guys, you've seen the topics, they do not need quotations. They need insightful information, background data, statistics, reports, what you have prepared on the topic. That is what is required in these essays. So make sure you do not you do not use quotations or proverbs in your essays. Use data points when you are framing your answers. So 5 mistakes not to make while writing an essay are given to you. Now let's come to Preci writing. What Preci writing entails, what Preci writing is all about, and how should you frame a Preci? What is the structure of a Preci? So let me give you a brief understanding of a Preci. Guys, a Preci is a clear, compact, condensed brief of a passage by exclusion of unimportant text and filtration of key points in writer's own words. That means in your own words. So you have to exclude unimportant, irrelevant points and only keep the central points of the passage and then connect them, condense them, and create an organic whole in a paragraph by giving it a title on the top. That is what your Preci looks like. So Preci writing is regarded as a very important kind of composition because it develops one's capacity to discriminate between the essential and the non-essential. So how do you create a Preci, guys? Now please count, guys, how do you organize your Preci? Let's say you have to write 180 words and you are writing on an average 15 words per sentence. So that means you will be writing around 12 to 13 sentences in your Preci. So count it that way. So count your average number of words that you write in a sentence. Average. I'm not saying every sentence, but on an average. And you can count it by any answer that you have already written. So count your average number of words that you write in a sentence. Then divide it with 180. And you'll get the number of sentences you need to create in your Preci. Then keep that in mind so that you know that if I have to create 12 sentences, so I need to take out 10 key points from the passage. I'll add one introductory sentence, I'll add one conclusionary sentence, and I'll give it a title and I'll meet my word limit. So this is how you plan or you outline your original passage. So count how many paragraphs are there in your passage. Let's say there are 9 paragraphs or 8 paragraphs and you have to take out 10 sentences from that. You have to create 10 sentences. So take out those key points that you are going to use to create your Preci. That will help you with observing proportion. What is observing proportion? What students usually do is they do not initially when they start writing a Preci, they do not care how many words they are writing. So they elaborate some points and then they feel, okay, there is not enough word limit left for the rest of the points. Then they try to condense everything else, right? And that is where your Preci looks disproportionate. So make sure you execute proportion there. Second, only keep the abstract of the passage in your answers. Do not do not use any guys, in Preci we avoid any fact, any data, any number, or any specifics from the passage. So avoid that and keep your Preci keep the Preci in a very broad term. Keep a Preci in very broad terms. So not to include any specific fact, any number, any data from the passage. Don't do that. Keep only the abstract of the passage. The core points of the passage should be presented in your Preci. That is what Preci is. So Preci is not the details of the passage, guys. Preci is basically what you have understood from the passage, what you have learned from the passage. That is what Preci writing is. So in Preci you have to take out the key points from the passage and present them in your own words by excluding any factual information and keeping only the abstract of the passage, the core points of the passage, the message given by the passage, or what has been tried to convey by the author in the passage, that should be taken out and presented in your own words. Now guys, third point is make sure that you are very careful while you are selecting the prominent phrases and sentences from the passage. Make sure those are the important ones. Make sure they express what you have to what you understood from the passage, and they express all that in your answer. So make sure that you analyze this very, very carefully. All right. Right guys, so and last but not the least, once you have taken out all the key points from your passage, you make sure that you form a chain of all the points and connect them to make an organic whole in your answer. So whenever you're writing, once you have taken out all the key facts, key points of the passage, connect those key points and create an organic whole, create a kind of a short story. So guys, I'll give you a brief understanding of what Precis should look like. For example, guys, let's say you've read an editorial, right? And somebody comes to you and asks you, what is the gist of this editorial? What is the, the crux of this editorial? Now, guys, if you start interpreting that editorial to the, to the person who has asked this question, what is the gist of this editorial? Now, you won't be explaining each and every sentence to the person, right? What you are going to do is you are going to only provide the highlights of the passage, right? And construct those highlights in an organic paragraph in your own words. And that is what your Precis should look like. That is what Precis is all about. Okay. So this is the definition of a Precis. Now, how do you frame a Precis? What are the key points to remember when you are creating a Precis? Now, how do you frame the title of a Precis? Guys, the central point of the passage, the central theme of the passage, the core idea of the passage should become the title of your Precis. It should not be very long. It should not be very short. Maybe 6 to 7 or 8 words would be enough. It should give you a brief overview of the whole thing, right? Exactly like titles, headlines that you read in your newspapers every day. So those headlines give you enough information about the topic, but not everything about the topic. So they should be self-explanatory, and this should be the gist of the passage. Then guys, again remember, you cannot replicate sentences from the passage. Now students usually tend to do that when they are hurrying up in the exam. They replicate the sentences. Don't do that. It will be caught. It will lead to deduction of marks. So you cannot copy and paste sentences from the passage. You have to recreate the sentences in your own words without changing the intent, without changing the meaning, and without changing the thought process of the author from the passage. So do not replicate, present your sentences, present your Precis in your own words. Now, certain keywords obviously can't be changed. For example, if they mentioned the government has allocated, so I'll give you an example. So if let's say they've mentioned the government has allocated 10,000 crore rupees for the upliftment of the rural sector in the upcoming budget. So what you are going to take out from this is avoid the specifics and only retain that monetary support has been provided. Yeah, monetary support has been ensued by the government for the rural sector of the country. So I've avoided any specific. I've taken out the key point and I've presented it without changing the meaning. So inference is basically the meaning of Precis. So if you whatever you infer from the passage, without the key points, without the specifics, and present that inference in your own words. That is what Precis should look like, or that is what a Precis is. Then have brevity and clarity in your answer. Your Precis should not deviate from what has been given in the passage. Your Precis should be a replica, a miniatured replica of the passage in your own words, and it should be clear to understand. So no need to be Shakespeare out there. Keep it simple, keep it to the point and logical. That would be enough. So if you can use good synonyms, good vocabulary, that is a plus, but do not make mistakes, guys. That is important. Now guys, avoid direct speech and use indirect speech. What I mean by this is, if you are stuck with something, maybe use active passive. So if they've said government has allocated 10,000 crore rupees for the upliftment of the rural sector. So what I would do is, for the rejuvenation or for the you have to provide necessary push to the rural sector. Monetary budget has been, or monetary support has been allocated for the by the government in the upcoming budget. So I'm saying the same thing. I'm just using active, passive, direct, indirect to create a new sentence out there. So this is a good trick to use in your exam. Now make sure that guys, you do not include any statistical information in your Precis. So make sure you exclude any specific data, any specific fact that is given in the passage, any specific statistics that is mentioned in the passage, and keep only the core point of the passage in your Prezi. Make sure you observe proportion. What do I mean by observing proportion? You have to mention all the key points proportionately in your Prezi. So don't elaborate one point too much and don't condense another point too much. So it has to be balanced. So make sure that you count the number of sentences that you will be writing in your Prezi in 180 words, and make sure that you follow only those number of sentences and use those number of sentences according to the key points that you have taken out from the passage. So observe proportion. Every point should be given equal importance in your Prezi. So don't over elaborate one point and condense the other. Make sure that every is fairly presented in your answer. And then your Prezi is usually it's the 1/3 of the original passage, but in this exam you'll have to follow the word limit. So if the word limit is 180 words or 180 to 200 words, make sure you target your Prezi in between that word limit. If you exceed 200 words, marks will be deducted, and probably you'll not be allowed to write more than 200 words, because now the interface does not allow you to write more than the given number of words. But if you write below 180, then also marks will be deducted for it. So make sure you follow the word limit. Make sure you adhere to the word limit in your Prezi. Prezi is strictly word limit based. That is what they're looking for. Can you contract it in a certain number of words? Can you plan it accordingly? And that is why I said make sure you count your average number of words. You count your average words that you write per sentence. Let's say you write let's say you write 15 words per sentence or 12 words per sentence, depends on you. So count average number of words per sentence. Let's say you write 15 words per minute per sentence, right? Now, and if you have to write 180 words, between 180 to 200 words, so that means I can write 12 to 13 sentences, right? Now I can calculate that. So if I know already that I have to write 12 to 13 sentences, I'll plan accordingly. I'll create my Prezi accordingly so that I do not overshoot the word limit and I do not stay below the word limit as well. So this is what you need to, this is how you need to plan your Prezi. Guys, please give me a thumbs up in the chat box if you understand what I'm trying to say here. If you have understood what I mean by observing proportion. And don't forget to like the session, guys. Just, press the thumbs up button. It would be lovely for you to, revisit this video later on, and it would be helpful for others to reach to this. Yes, guys, do you understand what I mean by observing proportion and calculating the average number of words that you write in your answer, and then dividing it from 180 or dividing it from 200, and then you'll get the number of sentences that you have to write in your Prezi, and then you can control what you write and what you do not write in your answer. So guys, I hope I've made myself clear to everyone. Please give me a confirmation in the chat box, guys. Yes, Aranya, Rohit, guys, have you understood what I mean by counting your average number of words per sentence and then planning it accordingly? That you plan your Prezi, you plan how many words I write on an average in a sentence, and then you execute it accordingly. Yes, have you understood the perspective here? Please give me confirmation in the chat box so that we can move further. Right. Good. All right, guys. Now, what are the do's and don'ts of a Prezi? Now, what you must remember when you are framing a Prezi. Thank you, Ashish. So, guys, please understand these do's and don'ts of Prezi writing. Now, guys, how do you start your Prezi? Guys, see, you don't always have to start the Prezi the way the passage starts, right? You can use your own way of presenting, starting the Prezi. So start the Prezi with the main idea. Start the first sentence of your Prezi should be the main idea of the passage, so that the evaluator can quickly understand the essence of the Prezi, what you are going to write about. Do you understand what the passage was all about? So start your Prezi with the central theme of the passage. As I just showed you earlier in this session, you can revisit this session again, and I showed you the passage for 2024, and I showed you a sample answer for that passage. So make sure that you read through that and you will understand how to start and how to conclude a précis. So first sentence of the précis should be the central theme of the passage. It should highlight, everything about the passage, what the passage is all about, right? So start like that. Start first sentence, introductory sentence, and make sure you end your précis with a conclusionary sentence as well. Now in between the start first sentence and the last sentence of a précis. Now, while writing a précis, make sure that you create a suitable environment where all the points can be described and discussed equally. Now, what I mean by described and discussed equally is that you observe proportion, right? You count your number of sentences and then you observe proportion, that okay, I have to write 10 or 11 sentences and I have 10 points. So how do I frame these 10 points equally in those 11 sentences? That needs to be done by you. Now, another thing to remember, guys, as a précis is concise, compress it by using connecting words. Otherwise, you might need to add a lot of points into your précis. So use conjunctions. So connecting words, what they mean by connecting words is use conjunctions to collate sentences, collate points in your answers, like however, consequently, along with, in addition to, subsequently, in contrast, uh, in the same sense, whatever you can use, together with, besides, right, as well as, along with. So use conjunctions to connect your sentences, connect your points, and make sure that space is available to retain the important data, keywords, and the concept. So make sure that you create enough sentences and you have enough space left to discuss all points organically and proportionately. Now, next point, guys, removing the irrelevant data or removing the irrelevant sentences is as important as writing the relevant points. So identify the superfluous data and facts and keep the core idea of the work, core idea of the passage only in your précis. So as I told you earlier, please make sure that you do not include any specifics, any data points, any numbers, any specific example that is given in the passage, and keep only the crux of the passage in your précis. Now, another thing to remember, guys, do not form personal opinions, do not add personal remarks, or do not add any personal criticism in the précis. Now, précis it is supposed to be written in your own words, but it has to be a replica of the passage. Even if you agree or disagree with it, it does not matter. What you have to do is you have to replicate the passage, in a brief sense, in a condensed brief. So it should be a miniatured replica of the passage in your own words. So you cannot add anything beyond the premises of the passage, or you cannot write something which is not even mentioned in the passage. So do not add personal opinions, personal remarks, or any criticism into the précis. Keep it in line with the passage itself, right? So whatever the passage says, make sure you follow the same thing and you present the same idea to the reader in your précis. Now always take the fact and data that is given in the paragraph only. So whatever information is given in the passage, only use that. Anything beyond the premises of the passage cannot be included in your précis. Then again, another thing to remember, you cannot copy and paste sentences from the passage. You cannot replicate the sentences from the passage in your précis. This is a strict no. Okay, marks will be deducted for it and you will lose marks because of this. So you do not replicate your sentences from the passage. You present them in your own words. And guys, use synonyms. For example, if they have said the government has allocated 10,000 crore rupees, I said monetary support. So this is synonym, right? If they've mentioned the government is providing a subsidy, right? So what you are going to write, the government has assured, or the government has laid out subsidized rates for for purchase of this. So you can use different words, you can use subvention scheme, you can use different words to say the same thing. So use synonyms, but make sure that it conveys the same meaning as in the passage. So use synonyms to present the sentences in your own words. Obviously the key words cannot be changed, but what you can change is the core idea of the passage. You cannot change what you cannot change is the core idea of the passage, but what you can change is some words which are frequently used. You can use synonyms for it. For example, for government, you cannot change the word government. For example, if they've said RBI, you cannot change RBI. So keywords are to be kept same, but the presentation should be original in your own words. Now, 5 mistakes to avoid in a Prezi. Make sure you do not make these 5 mistakes. No typo, no grammatical error, because every grammar, every punctuation error, every grammatical error, every spelling error will lose, will lead to deduction of marks. Make sure you do not exceed the word. You won't be able to exceed the word limit, but you cannot. Also, you cannot underwrite the word limit. So do not underwrite the word limit. If they've mentioned 180, make sure that you write more than 180, and you cannot go beyond 200, so you have to finish between 180 and 200 itself. So you cannot exceed the word limit, you cannot underwrite the word limit. Then improper structure. Remember guys, the structure of a Prezi is title on the top. So title on the top, and then everything in the Prezi should be written in one paragraph itself. Prezi is always written in one paragraph, guys. So this is the structure of a Prezi: title on top and one paragraph itself to convey everything that is given in the passage. So make sure that you follow the structure of a Prezi. Then only use the information that is given in the passage or in the paragraph itself. You cannot add any opinion, anything beyond the premises. For example, if they've mentioned COVID-19 has taught us the importance of healthcare infrastructure. Now you cannot write COVID-19 created many issues like shortage of oxygen cylinders and mask and precautionary. If it is not mentioned there, you cannot write that in your answer. Whatever is given in the premises of the passage, only use that information to create your Prezi. And again, I'm reiterating this. Do not copy or reuse text from the passage, and do not form personal opinions into your Prezi. Make sure it is a replication of the passage itself in your own words, but it should be replication of the passage only. You cannot add anything beyond the premises, or on your own. You cannot add something that you feel or about the topic beyond the beyond the limitations of the passage. So this was about your Prezi writing, guys. Now let's learn about reading comprehension. Now what reading comprehension entails, and what are the tips and tricks to solve reading comprehension in the exam. Now guys, how do you solve comprehension? The first trick is reverse reading. What do I mean by reverse reading? Read the questions based on the passage before reading the passage. Now what is this going to do to you? Now you will know the underlying the topic. You will guess the topic of the exam. Topic of the passage. You will know the keywords that you need to look for, and then it will be a targeted approach. So you will not need to re-refer to the passage for every answer after that. So read the questions based on the passage before reading the passage, so that you can acquaint yourself with the content of the passage. Mark, and as you read the questions, mark the keywords in the questions and write them down. You'll have a piece of paper there. Either you can, there are only 5 questions, you can memorize them as well, but if you cannot, write them down. So make sure that you underline the keywords given in the questions and you memorize them. Try to recognize the main idea of the passage. Try to understand, try to guess the central theme, what the passage is going to be all about, and you can do that, right? For example, if it says what are the challenges created by AI technology in the banking sector, now you know that the passage is going to talk about the challenges associated with AI in the banking sector. Let's say next question was, what role has AI played in the development of digital transactions or digital system? What role has technology played or AI played in the development of or in the growth of the banking system in the country? So you know it is going to be about AI. Third, what are the challenges or what are the shortcomings of or let's say what are the ethical and privacy challenges that are faced by people in this regard. The whole passage is going to be about AI and its different role, positives and negatives. So you understand the main idea of the passage, and that mentally prepares you, and you can anticipate what you are going to face in the passage. So that prepares you a lot. So you're not reading the passage now like a story. Now you know what is going to be there in the passage. You can anticipate what you have to look for, and then you can easily locate your answers this way. So try to recognize the main idea of the passage. Know what to look for. You must understand what you have to find in the what you have to look for in the exam. Now, while reading the passage, look for the keywords that you marked in the questions. Whatever keywords that you marked in the questions, try to locate them. Wherever you find your keywords in your passage or something related to those keywords, you will find your answer there. So while reading the passage, this is called targeted approach, guys. Now you can target your answers this way. So this is called a targeted approach. You read the questions, you underline the keywords that you have to look for in the passage, and look for those keywords in the passage when you are reading the passage. So this is called a targeted approach. Now, make sure, guys, you avoid getting stuck anywhere while reading the passage. If you do not understand one line, that does not mean you will not understand the whole passage. You have to be quick, and you will have to get to the you have to complete reading the passage very in a very short span of time. So make sure you do not get stuck anywhere, and as you go along, mark important points of each paragraph. This will help you to retain most of the passage, and this will also help you to locate your answers as you go along. So these are the tips and tricks of solving reading comprehension in your paper, in your exam. Right now, you have two types of questions that you might face in the exam. First are paragraph and structure based questions. Now questions might be asked related to a particular paragraph or structure of the passage. Now these questions test the candidate's intuitive and logical sense. Now these questions might look like the measures taken by the organization in the passage can be best described as what. So you'll need to mention the measures and then also present that these measures can be best described as supportive or counterproductive or whatever is mentioned in the passage. Or they can also discuss this phrase or discuss this paragraph. So, and the second type of question you face is factual or inferential questions. Now there could be questions based on the inference or information provided in the passage. For example, find out and use the premises. Okay, find out and use the premises of the passage to answer such questions. What factual information is given in the passage must be located to answer such questions in the exam. Now, 5 mistakes not to make when you are answering when you are answering questions based on comprehension. Now, first, grammatical, typos, spellings or punctuation errors. Make sure you do not make any such mistake. Like descriptive English is basically about your grammar, your language, your vocabulary, your presentation and your articulation. So make sure you do not make any grammatical mistake, typos, spelling or punctuation errors in your answers. Make sure you follow the word limit. Now this is very, students are usually very confused on how much should we write for an RC answer. So let me give you a simple formula, guys. For 1 mark, you have to write at least 10 words. At least 10 words for 1 mark. So let's say you have 5 questions for 30 marks. That means every question is worth 6 marks. So if you're writing a 6 mark answer, you have to write 60 to 70 words for every answer. Let's say there are 3 questions for 30 marks. That means every question is worth 10 marks. Then you will be writing around 100 to 110 words per answer. So you can calculate it accordingly. This is a simple formula. For 1 mark, you have to write 10 words. All right. So you have to roughly write around 300 to 350 words in reading comprehension altogether. Even if there are 3 questions, even if there are 5 questions. So if there are 5 questions like last year, so for 5 questions, that means every question is worth 6 marks, right? So 5 questions worth 6 marks that makes it your 30 marks. So for 6 marks, you have to write at least 60 to 70 words, at least 60 to 70 words. That means 5 to 6, at least 5 to 6 long sentences, at least. I'm saying at least, guys. You write more than that, that is more elaboration, but you cannot write below that. And why am I saying that? See, guys, for a 6 mark answer, you cannot just expect to write 2 sentences and expect to score more than 2 marks because of it. So for a 6 mark answer, at least like 6 to 7 sentences. That makes sense, right? If it's a 10 mark question, write at least 10 to 12 sentences. Makes sense? So this is how it functions. So you calculate it accordingly. You have to elaborate your answers in RC. Now again, one thing is again a strict no-no in RC as well. You cannot copy and paste text from the passage. You cannot use sentences as they are. But yes, you can use factual. You should use factual information, or you must use statistical information, stats from the passage. These should be used to to back up your answer, but use them in your own words. You do not copy and paste sentences from the passage as they are. So copying the passage, copying the sentences from the passage is a strict no-no. But in reading comprehension, factual information, stats, data points, these should be used in your answers to strengthen your thesis, to strengthen your answer, to to prove your answer, to give it a factual background, so that you can prove that okay, this is why I'm saying, this is why I'm writing this answer. But present those factual points, those data points in your own words, in your own language. Do not copy and paste sentences from the passage. Okay. Next, guys, using information, opinions, and assumptions not given in the passage. Now, guys, if you use any information, any opinion, or any assumption that is not given in the passage, that is, again, this is going to lead to deduction of marks. So you do not use information, opinion, or assumption that are not mentioned, or that cannot be inferred from the passage. Now you can do inference. Now, let me give an example, guys. From the same example I gave you earlier, let's say the statement was given in the passage: the government has allocated 10,000 crore rupees for the upliftment of the rural sector. And let's say in reading comprehension, you are given a question that what are the steps and measures taken by the government in in revival of the rural economy. So I'll use this sentence, but what I'll do is I'll do conscious elaboration. So what is called conscious elaboration, guys? You are not adding anything from your own end, from your own side, but you are elaborating the sentence. So I'm using this fact and I'll create maybe 2 to 3 sentences out of it. So first sentence will something be like this: a momentous decision of reviving the rural economy has been taken by the government. That is first sentence. Second sentence: under this decision, the government has allocated, or the government has sanctioned 10,000 crore rupee monetary support in the upcoming budget. And third sentence would be, now with the help of this budget, the government intends, with the help of this monetary support, the government intends to provide necessary push to the rural sector to bring it back on its feet. So what I did was, I did not add any information from my own end. I just inferred the sentence and I created 3 sentences out of it. So guys, have you understood what conscious elaboration means? Please give me a confirmation if you are there in the chat box that you've understood. Okay, this is what we need to do. So we do not add any information from beyond the premises of the passage, but what we do is we elaborate the information that is provided in the passage in our own words. So that is what they're looking for. Can you infer the information from the passage, and can you elaborate and present it in your own words or not? That is what the game here is. And your answers at the end of the day should be relevant to the demand of the question, to the requirement of the question. So this is what is needed in your reading comprehension, guys. So please understand this, guys. Precis writing and reading comprehension are kind of contradictory questions. See, in Precis you have to condense, you have to shorten everything that is given in the passage and bring it down to 180 words. Whereas on the other hand, in reading comprehension, you are supposed to elaborate whatever information you find in the passage. So that is why I'm saying they are contrary to each other. Precis writing is about contraction skills, whereas reading comprehension is about elaboration skills. But remember, both the answers are to be written in your own words, in your own organic language, in your own presentation. The skill that you need to show there is in Precis contraction skills, and in RC elaboration skills. Right? Thank you, Kuruva. I hope you have understood what the need or what the demand of the question here is. Right? Now, guys, what should be your strategy? What should be the tips for reading comprehension, guys? Answer the questions when you are in the exam. Answer the questions carefully after reading the complete passage. So don't just, as you locate one answer, don't just start writing your answer. Read the whole passage first, because there might be some other information given in the passage later on. So answer the questions carefully after reading the complete passage. Now, as far as answering the question is concerned, frame the answer in your own sentences rather than focusing on structuring of the passage, which is important. So instead of following the structure of the passage, present the answers in your own words, in your own way of presentation. Originality is crucial here. Right? And the more original you are without changing the meaning, the context of the answer, the better marks you are going to score. Third point, language of the comprehension should not be copied. So make sure you do not copy and paste sentences as they are. Next, try and improvise upon vocabulary, guys. Use good vocabulary. Use good synonyms, antonyms to present your thesis in your answers, as it will be of great importance as and when we talk about reading comprehension. Improvise your vocabulary. Use good opening phrases, right? Like to begin with, or to start with. Firstly, secondly, instead of just writing bullet points, use good words, good vocabulary, and good presentation skills. Good opening phrases, good closing phrases, which I have provided you in the live lectures in our course. So I have provided you numerous opening phrases for your answers, numerous closing phrases for your answers, which you can use in your in your RC and in your Prezi and essay as well. And guys, question like synonym antonyms based questions are not asked in here, but if they're asked, make sure that you have strong vocabulary to answer them. So these were your reading comprehension tips, tricks, and the way to solve and the way to elaborate your answers in RC. And how many words should you write for every answer? If there are 5 questions, write 70, 60, 70, 80 words for every answer. If there are 3 questions, write about 100, 110 words per answer. Now guys, at the beginning of this, in the beginning of this lecture, I gave you some 20 25 super important topics for this year. I've marked them for you. Make sure you look at them. So before I wrap up the session, guys, I would again like to go back and again show you those tentative topics for this year. Now those students who did not who joined later on, please make sure that, guys, you focus on these topics. Number 1, now government has recently increased the public capital expenditure from 31% to 35% of the GDP. Now please make sure that you prepare for this topic. The role of public capital expenditure and investment rate in driving India's growth ambition. Second, digital payments, fintech innovation, and financial inclusion. Again, a very important topic. Third, NBFCs, non-banking financial companies. How can they benefit India's financial ecosystem? What are the risks and what are the regulatory response? Then internationalization of rupee. Again, bilateral trade, what is going on around us, trade tariffs that have been levied upon India by the USA. What is the impact of those tariffs? So do read up about that. Green finance and sustainable investing. Again, very important topic for this year. Then credit growth versus asset quality in Indian banking. Again, important topic to look into. And reforming of GST, which was recently done by the finance ministry. So the reforming of GST tax structure in India. What are the implications on growth, industry, and consumers? So 7 important topics on this slide. And then again, role of cooperative banks and regional rural banks in strengthening rural credit flow, important topic. Fintech regulation in India, balancing innovation, inclusion, and consumer protection. Financial literacy and consumer protection in digital banking, again, important topic. FDI and FPI, it's falling down, so might not be asked. Maybe non-performing assets, bank recapitalization, and financial stability. But this is important, guys. The impact of regulatory sandbox and CBDC's initiative on Indian financial sector. And again, fiscal federalism and state level debt management, again important topic in the Indian context. So these 7-8 topics I found very useful, guys. And another one was topic number 9 here, ESG, environmental, social, and governance. ESG investing in India. Is it the future of responsible financing? Again, super important topic, guys, for this year. So I've given you some 10-15 important topics earlier, and make sure you look into these topics, guys. Then for technology, maybe look into artificial intelligence. It's an evergreen topic. Digital banking, role of fintech in financial inclusion, again, and cyber security threats and data privacy. So do prepare for such topics. They are going to be a game changer in this, right? This is my intuition for this year. All right, and usually it works out, right? Now, what are the sources you can follow? I know it's already you don't have too much time on your hands. Your exam is day after tomorrow, but guys, at this point of time, you don't need newspapers, you don't need Live Mint, but in general, you can use for ESI topics. You can use the Hindu, you can use PIB, Live Mint, Public Broadcasting Services, or Live Mint for your online articles. You can use Economic Times or Business Standard for your financial topics, but use Wikipedia to do your research. And guys, your next best best friend as of today is artificial intelligence. Use AI to assess your answers. Use AI to give you, specific data points, specific information on particular topics, and make sure it, it helps you in your in collection of those data points, and how can you present them logically in your answer. So do make use of that AI software to create essays for you to read up as much as you can, and to practice and assess your answers as well. So these are the sources that you can use to prepare for your exam. All right. Now guys, any doubt, any query you might have, please feel free to ask now, or you can drop us an email on the given ID for your queries, hello@edutap.co.in, and we'll be more than happy to address those queries for you. And if you need to get in touch with us regarding anything at all, you can always call us on this number during the office hours, which is 81462072441. That's our official contact number, and this is our official email ID, hello@edutap.co.in. Yes, guys, is there anything you wish to ask? Please feel free to do so, and I'll be more than happy to serve you and be more than happy to help you out in this direction. And guys, with the with this session, I hope I've laid out the the blueprint for your essay writing. I've given you the structure for your essay: introduction, social angle, economic angle, political angle, then challenges, then solutions, and then conclusion with the way forward. So if you follow that structure, if you create a rough draft, if you follow that structure, you'll do really well. If you if you understand the structure of a Prezi, if you know what you need to conceptualize in a Prezi, you'll be able to do it very well. And in reading comprehension, it's all about elaboration skills, how well you elaborate your answers. So make sure you do not make any grammatical mistakes, spelling error, punctuation error. Make sure you proofread your answers in the exam before submitting your answer. Do not forget the title of a Prezi. Students, do that. Guys, do not forget to write the essay choice. Guys, there are certain things you need to remember. Make sure that you mention the essay number, not the title, the essay number. For example, you are given 4 topics, you've chosen topic number 2 or topic number 3. So what you do is you write number 3 and then you start writing your essay from there on. So that should be mentioned here. The essay number must be mentioned. Without this, marks will not be allocated to you. Another thing, do not forget the title of a Prezi. Many students, what they do is they they read the passage and they start writing their Prezi, thinking that okay, we will at the end of the Prezi we will again come back and we will write the title here. But when they finish off the Prezi, they forget to provide title and they lose 3 to 4 marks because of this. So every year it happens. You can go to my previous year videos, you will see every year students forget to write title, and then they ask me, sir, how many marks will be deducted for it? And it is already too late. So do not make sure you do not forget to write the title of a Prezi. And while writing your RC answers, make sure you label them properly. If it's a first answer, write 1. If it's a second answer, write 2. If it's a third answer, write 3, number 4, number 5, so on and so forth. So that is also very, very important to remember in your exam. So while hurrying up, you do not miss the you do not forget these crucial important things of the exam. So guys, no queries, no doubts whatsoever. All right. So guys, that was it for this session today. I know it is already too late. The session was actually supposed to be a little earlier, but due to some technical issues, we were not able to provide you, we were not able to come up with the session because of the ongoing classes and the time crunch that we all are facing. So I hope with this will give you, this will provide you insights into the composition of different answers in your descriptive English part, and I hope this will give you the right direction to frame your answers, and it has cleared all your doubts, all your queries, everything that you wanted to ask about, right? So you're more than welcome, Kuruva sir, and I hope we are able to serve you in this in this exam. So guys, do join our analysis session day after tomorrow on the day of the exam. We will be bringing up a detailed analysis of the paper. I'll be providing you detailed questions as well as solutions to those questions in that lecture itself. So it will be in the evening around 6 o'clock. So do not forget to join in that session and make sure that you make use of that. So guys, before wrapping up the session, I wish you all the very best for your preparation, for your exam, for your journey ahead. And I wish and I hope that you go out there and you do your best and you come out with flying colors. So All the very best, guys. Keep up the good work. This is the time to prove your, prove your mettle, prove your caliber to everyone who has, who has doubted you in this lifetime. So make sure you trust your instincts. You feel confident when you walk into the exam room, and you are in a good mental space when when you start writing your answers. So do practice it well, do prepare well, and I'm sure you will do wonders in your exam. Uh, Ru Babaji, please do share your doubt in the on the email ID given to you. So this session is for RBI, but if you have a doubt regarding EPFO, please drop your query on this email ID, hello@edutap.co.in, and I will answer your query accordingly. Now there are different sources, there are different answers floating around, and you might be confused as why this or why that. I understand that. So I'll be helping you out. So just drop your query on this email address, hello@edutap.co.in, and you can get in touch with me. I'll explain the question. I'll answer any doubt that you might have. Right? All right. So guys, all the very best for your exam again, and we wish you all the success in your endeavors ahead. Keep on working hard, keep on giving your best, and I'm sure you will come out with flying colors. And do not forget the essentials that we have discussed in the video, and do look into the tentative topics that I've marked in star for you. So do prepare for those topics. They are tentative for this year. So all the very best. Keep up the good work, and happy learning to all of you. And I'm sure you will come out as a winner here. So bye-bye once again. See you day after tomorrow, guys. And again, we wish you all the very best for your exam. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye, guys.